All right, I am. There I am. Okay. Well, thank you all, first and foremost, for joining in this morning and being part of this unique but great opportunity and experience that we have. It's been a very unique last 4 months for the Louisiana 4-H program, and I think for each of us individually and personally as far as what we do. But first and foremost, I want to start out by thanking you as volunteers, thanking our agents that are on, and really knowing that you guys have held it together for our young people. You have continued to serve and work with them as they competed in 4-HU this last month, as they've done end of year celebrations and recognition events at the parish level or even at the school level. Just the innovation and creativity that we have seen from our volunteers and our parents and our agents really has been a great source of pride and motivation for a lot of other people. So first and foremost, I did want to start out by saying that and thanking you guys for that. What does the future look like for Louisiana 4-H? That is a really good question. It is one that we are most definitely addressing, that we are looking at. And to be honest with you guys, it's going to look probably much different than what it has in the past. And I say that not in a negative sense, but I think that as we look and as we're getting closer and closer to the start of a new school year, we're hearing such diverse structures of our schools and different things like that, that honestly, each parish is going to have to be creative in how they work with their schools, how they work with their junior leaders, their project clubs, different things like that. Because at least until, if you're a news junkie, you're hearing that there may be some vaccinations coming fairly quickly. And I say fairly quickly by the end of the year, potentially. So we're probably going to be operating in a restricted manner through the rest of this year, which is, sad, but it's also, compared to where we've been, kind of exciting to know that there may be a light at the end of the tunnel. So part of that, and part of my challenge to you guys today as volunteers, is to just lend a hand where you can. Each parish is, like I said, going to be different. Each agent is going to need a different level of assistance, a different area of assistance, and just help them and be reassuring to them in how we can continue our program for our young kids. Because at the end of the day, and that was one of the things that I really took personally when we started looking at all of the closures happening, is I wanted 4-HU to happen. And I knew that it wasn't going to be something that myself, I was going to do, but it was going to take a lot of us. And it did take a lot of us to get that pulled off. But at the end of the day, and as we're evaluating that event now, the comments from the kids of saying, thank you for giving us something that we thought was going to be taken away, is what drives me. And I would also say that to you guys as volunteers, as agents, is just remember at the end of the day, whether it's your own child in 4-H or it's children that you're working with through a school or through a junior leader or other project group, is they're looking to us in any type of activity or experience that we can give them right now is probably appreciated more than what we really know. So as you go through, just think about it and always think about those smiles at the end of the day, and knowing that you're being appreciated for being a volunteer and being an agent with us and for us and everything. We are rolling out some curriculums. Some of them are curriculums that we've had around for a while that we've pulled off the shelf. We've updated, we've gotten ready. There are 5 new school curriculums that we can work with teachers to get them trained on, and they can teach in the classroom by themselves, not necessarily with a agent being present. And that's for situations where we might see schools being closed or restricted to the 4-H program, the 4-H agent coming into the schools, but we can still continue some type of educational delivery. We are looking, and more than likely, we're going to have to offer more experiences outside of school when it comes to some of our project groups, our project clubs. Of course, junior leaders have always, either met usually at night or something like that. So we'll continue those as well and go from there. We are also developing what is called Lesson Labs, which is a new series of resources that they can be taught by either agents, volunteers, or even adults in some of our classrooms or in project clubs. So we actually, last night, we finished up the first one, which was investigating oil spills. These will all have a Louisiana flair to them, from the standpoint of being very specific to the state and being able to really, relate to the young people as far as that. These curriculums or these resources, they will have some standards. They will not be aligned as closely and as sharply as what the official school curriculum will. But these new resources can be used in a very different state of programming, regardless if it's a organized group that you want to go through a whole series, or if you just may want to pull out 1 or 2 lessons and use at a club meeting or something like that. So we're real excited for those. We've got right now about 15 of them that are in the works, and they're being edited, and then we're getting them formatted. So hopefully by the end of September, 1st of October, we'll have a good library of those put out as well. Couple of things that we realized during the pandemic, and that we are still realizing because we're still in it, is that we need to look at our website presence and our web presence. So we are going through a significant redo of our website right now. Actually, at 8 o'clock this morning, I had a meeting with that. So we're moving forward on getting it done. We're exploring some new methods of managing our 4-H enrollment that would make it easier on not just our classroom teachers, but our agents, our parish offices, and also our families, as far as bringing them in as a partner in managing their 4-H enrollment, event registrations, and different things like that. So some of these things have been on the the foundation to be talked about, but with the pandemic, we're kind of moving a little bit quicker with them because we know we need to get these resources out there and get them going as far as accessibility to our families and everything. The other things I just want to kind of mention is, of course, we did virtual 4-H camp this year because we were unable to camp our youth at Grant Walker. So that was a great success, and we really appreciate our agents and our 4-H faculty members for supporting that and getting it pulled together and really having a great experience and opportunity for some young people. It looks like on average we had about 1,500 kiddos a week participate in those camps. So that was a pretty good number. Is, when you typically go with about 500, 450 to 500 kids a week, and then have 1,500 virtually. So we did some really good things, and once again, I applaud our staff for being able to get those things together. We are already talking about camp for summer 2021, what it may look like, and basically how things may change as far as where we are and different things like that. So we're going to have some patience, and I would ask that you, as volunteers and parents, be patient with us as we try to figure out what we have to do to maintain the safety of our young people. And that also involves, as we look further than camp, we also look at livestock shows for the fall, the spring, and different things like that. And one person made the comment to me, and I'll just be very frank with each of you on this call today, is that they said, oh, well, you know, if you start canceling things in the fall, you're going to get phone calls. And I'll be honest with you guys, I would rather get a phone call getting chewed out than me having to make a phone call to a 4-H family with my condolences that their child caught a virus and passed because of something at a 4-H event. So I'm ready for those phone calls, because ultimately my job is to ensure the safety and well-being of our young people, of our 4-H parents, of our volunteers, of their grandparents, aunts and uncles, and our 4-H faculty and staff. So I would say that we are going to try anything and everything in our power to continue programming and to get our programming back to a face-to-face standard. But, you know, just be patient with us as we go through and as we look at what our new normal may be as far as that goes. But ultimately, today is about you guys as volunteers and your opportunity to learn some new skills and traits and things like that. So I want to applaud Dr. Castro and her agent team for pulling this training together. And really want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to each of you as volunteers. We couldn't do it without you. You make such an impact on the kids. You make such an impact on us as extension employees to motivate us to do things with you and for you, even in a better and higher level. So we really do appreciate you guys. And know that we are here for you during this time, and also for the good times as far as the non-pandemic times. But take advantage of what's being offered the next couple of days, and we look forward to a great, unique 2021 4-H year in Louisiana 4-H. So thank y'all very much. And if anybody has any questions, I don't know if anybody chatted anything in, but Renee, if I have a couple of minutes, I'll be glad to answer any questions for you guys.
Sure, that's fine. Anybody have any questions?
Good morning. There's nothing in a chat box right now.
Thank you, Alicia.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Lepley, for that update.
Thank y'all. And if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to get them to Dr. Castro, and I'll be glad to answer them back for you guys. And have a great day.
Thanks for that update. I just want to thank Dr. Lepley for all the work that he's been doing with the 4-H program during this time of crisis. He's been very instrumental in keeping our 4-H program up and running, so we really do appreciate that. Welcome again to our first virtual conference, our first virtual volunteer conference. I just to give you a little update of what the 4-H agents are doing, and just to kind of reiterate some of the things that Dr. Lepley talked about. And I'm sorry, I was supposed to put my camera on. Okay, here we go. At this point in the year, we're all helping to prepare our agents for the start of the school year and whatever that might look like. In order for agents to be prepared, we need our volunteers to be prepared as well. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to do this virtual training. We want you to be as prepared as our 4-H agents are with the start of this new school year. With each school system choosing to do something different, this year, 4-H has several different options to offer to make sure that we're still meeting the needs of our youth as well as the needs of our schools. Although that I'm not going to go through in great detail of what all of these options will be, I did want to tell you some of the options, I guess, that we're talking about as a 4-H staff. It is my hope that most of you have already met with your 4-H agents to kind of start discussing these plans. Obviously, an option, just to tell you a few of these options, pre-recorded meetings. If that works for your school system, we can do pre-recorded 4-H meetings to get to the kids. We can do small group project meetings after school, kind of like after school clubs. We would have to follow guidelines of the actual number of kids and things like that. We also, Dr. Lepley talked about school enrichment, which we will have 5 new curriculums coming out for that. And actually on our call tomorrow, we do have the presenters that are in charge of those programs are going to be presenting those enrichment opportunities to you guys and giving you more information on that. So I think y'all gonna really like those, and those are aligned with our state standards. So school enrichment and curriculum experiences are obviously something we can do as well. We can have virtual meetings, maybe a live meeting that the 4-H agent does with the kids. Like I said, there are so many options out there, and I hope you as the volunteer for your school, if you're doing school clubs, I hope that you have had those conversations or are about to have those conversations with your 4-H agent. We are in the process of training our 4-H agents on these opportunities for virtual 4-H because we want them to be fully prepared. And no matter what option your school chooses, the safety and well-being of our 4-H youth volunteers and their families is our #1 priority. So with that said, I do realize some school systems may not be 100% yet as far as what they're going to be doing for the new year. And I know when the governor has his talks to us, that could change daily. So like I said before, that's what I would encourage you to do, is to stay in touch with your 4-H agents. We do get on social media a lot. There are lots of 4-H opportunities on social media for the 4-H kids, as well as updates for volunteers and parents. Does anybody have any questions for me? So moving on to our next item on the agenda, we have Miss Megan Franks, who is our Volunteer and Leadership Development Specialist, who is going to talk to you guys about Volunteer Leader Association opportunities. And I think Miss Megan has some volunteers that are going to help her with that, and I will let her introduce those volunteers to you. Thank you, Miss Megan.
Hi. So for this session, for the updates, it's just me, but I've had these slides and material has been prepared by Sarah Jones, your VLA president. So we've got a number of opportunities that I'm going to show you that the VLA has been working with me directly on. So I just appreciate everybody on the call today. I know many of you are busy and you've got a lot going on. So I hope that this information I'm going to present to you is helpful, and then I can hope we can stay connected. So just sharing my screen. So Renee, just double checking to make sure you can see my screen okay. If you could give me a thumbs up, that'd be great.
Yes, we can.
Great, thanks so much. So just first off, the Louisiana 4-H Volunteer Conference is going virtual this year. We do have registration open. The dates are October 9th and 10th. We have submissions open also for proposals to present a presentation. So if you are looking to present and looking to attend a virtual conference, a free virtual conference, that conference is open, and proposals will be accepted until August 3rd, 2020. We have a number of great virtual opportunities and events that are going to be offered, and we're really excited about being able to still host the Louisiana 4-H conference. Obviously, we'd like to meet in person, but we can still do it virtually. So please do register for that and submit a proposal as well to present. I will share these links with you in the chat also in just a moment if you're trying to write them down. Next, we have started a volunteer newsletter that's in cooperation with the VLA. It does come out monthly, so if you're not getting that newsletter, I'm going to share a link with you to subscribe with that. But it has a number of training opportunities for volunteers, award opportunities for volunteers, a lot of good information for you to stay connected, not just within Louisiana 4-H, but also within the region and nationally as well. So we are producing that electronically. We definitely want you on the mailing list if you're not on it already. And I'll put a link in the chat where you can get a copy of the current version as well as subscribe. So those of you that are writing that down, like I said, I will share that in the chat for you as well. Next, just after the conclusion of this virtual conference, I just wanted to share another opportunity with you. If you want to jump on a call that evening on July 23rd, Miss Ruby Miller is leading a training on how to deliver a virtual presentation using Microsoft Teams. She has a number of Teams tools that she's going to present to volunteers. She's going to slow down the process so you can kind of learn with her, and go along with her. So do register for that. We have been producing a number of webinars for volunteers. So like I said, you want to get on that mailing list to be sure that you're aware of those opportunities when they're available. Next, we have the volunteer awards application that is open right now. So if you want to be nominated for an award through the VLA, you don't have to be a member of the Volunteer Leaders Association to be nominated for an award. We have a number of awards: Emerging Leaders, Excellence in Service Learning, 4-H Spirit Award. We also have one for an agent, so Supporting Volunteerism Agent of the Year. So if you want to work together with other volunteers in your parish and nominate your agent for that award, that application deadline is August 3rd. It is also electronic. It is also in the newsletter that I'll share with you as well. So please, you don't have to be nominated by your agent. You do have to have provide your agent information, but you have to, volunteers can work together to be nominated as well. Next, we do have the VLA grant applications, and those are due August 3rd. You do have to be a VLA member to apply for the VLA grant, but there's two that are available for $250 each. That application is also in the newsletter. And so these are to provide funds to support new and existing 4-H projects. And so we hope to get a number of those applications in before August 3rd to support some of your fall programming. Also, something that we've done 2 events so far, and we'd really like to we've got great participation by our Louisiana 4-H volunteers, and we'd love to get more of you on these regional calls. But we've been having these quarterly regional chats throughout the region. They're led by a number of volunteers and specialists throughout the region. And so it's an opportunity for you to connect with other volunteers, share lots of idea sharing. The last 2 conversations have been co-hosted by Louisiana 4-H in Arkansas, but we have our specialists and volunteers throughout the region and then beyond the region as well, participating in these chats. And so if you're not following the VLA's Facebook page, we do encourage you to do that so that we post those events on there. They do happen quarterly, but it's a really neat way to get connected with others. You never know what a program somebody else has done and what great information that they can share. So please sign up for the newsletter, get on the VLA Facebook, share your ideas, and then, get connected with others. And there's a great way, great opportunities that can come from those quarterly regional chats. Another thing that I'm working with the VLA on is trying to find a way for volunteers to capture the impact that they're providing for our programs. And so we've been able to partner with Volunteer Louisiana, offer annual volunteer awards in partnership with the VLA. We do have a way for you to log your hours using a system called GivePulse. It's the leader and national leader really in logging community engagement and service. And so it's a really, really simple system to use. So we do have a portal on there. There's instructions on how to log step by step in that newsletter. And so some of our, leaders in using this system right now, I would say Sarah Jones, Ruby Miller. I did see a couple of the volunteers right on the call this morning that I've approved hours for, but it's an opportunity for you to generate your own record of service, certificates as well if you're working towards your master volunteer portfolio, and then also for you to see the impact of the service that you're doing. So it's a lot in 10 minutes but there has been some webinars on how to do this and how to log these hours. And so do encourage you to sign up for the newsletter to get more information about these opportunities. And so just a couple of important dates that I'll leave you with before I give you that link to the newsletter. You want to look for the VLA website. That's la4hvolunteers.com. We've got our grant application that's open till August 3rd. Awards nomination August 3rd. Master volunteer portfolios are going to be due September 31st this year, giving people more time to get those in due to the situation we're in right now. Rock Eagle, which is your national 4-H conference, it's also going virtual, and so they're still working on that registration, but that's going to be towards the end of September. And then our virtual volunteer conference for Louisiana 4-H volunteers is going to be the 9th through the 11th, and that registration is open. All right, and so what I'm going to leave you with before I go is the link to the actual newsletter. I'm going to share that in the chat. So if you can see my screen right now, I think I'm showing the current version of it, but that's the newsletter link. I'm just sharing that in the chat with you. So there's, the information about the conference, information about the volunteer webinars, the awards, various things, how to log your hours, essential training and screening resources that are available to you. And then there's also a link for you to subscribe to that newsletter in the future. So do click on that and read that newsletter and get connected. And then if you have any additional questions, I'm actually going to be on this call all morning. I'm going to talk to you later on today about a presentation I prepared with one of our fantastic volunteers on recruiting other volunteers for your programs. But I'd be more than happy to answer any questions in the chat. That's it. Thank you, Renee. This is my update.
Thank you so much, Megan. Does anybody have any questions for Megan?
There's not any questions in the chat.
Okay. Megan is, like she said, going to be doing another presentation later on, so you also have the opportunity to ask those questions as well then. And I do want to let everyone know that this meeting is being recorded, so at the end of the 3 days, I'm actually going to send a link to the recordings of everybody on the list that's registered. So if there's anything that you want to go back and look at and get information, you'll be able to do that. So I just want to let you know that. Next on the agenda is Mr. Xavier Bell. Xavier is the 4-H agent in East Feliciana Parish, and he is my go-to technology person and the person who makes our flyers pretty and all that kind of good stuff. So we appreciate him a lot, and that's why he has volunteered for the next session, which is easy to use online tools, because I consider him our expert with that. So with that said, I'll turn it over to you, Xavier.
Thank you, Renee, for giving me the opportunity to present on this. Just to let everybody know, I'm still learning all this technology stuff too. So I want to preface before I get started with my presentation, understand there's a lot of resources out there for people to use that is free. Understand you have to work with the program, with the software, in order for you to get comfortable with it. So I'm just going to give you some that I am comfortable with using, and I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm actually going to share my screen so you can see what it looks like on the back side, and some of the features that it has with the free version that it gives you. So this presentation is just easy to use online resources. And as Renee said, I'm Xavier Bell. I'm the 4-H agent in East Feliciana Parish. So today, some of the tools that I'm going to be talking about is tools that you can use for registration, tools that you can use for polling, evaluations, data sharing, and some fun and interactive game systems that you can incorporate, whether you are an educator or you want to do something fun with your 4-H members in a club meeting setting that they can do virtual. So those are the three things. Those are the things that I'm going to be talking about today. At any point, any time that you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. You are more than welcome to speak out. This is going to be more of a dialogue and conversation between the two of us. If you see something that you like and you just have a question, just feel free to reach out and just say something. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen at this point. I'm going to start with the registration tools that we can use. And the first registration tool is a lot of you probably already know about it, and it's Sign Up Genius. Sign Up Genius is a free software that you can use. And when using Sign Up Genius, I prefer to use Sign Up Genius when it comes to you when we have volunteers. And the reason why is because it allows us to make time slots, make different job descriptions, give it out, and then put a maximum number of people that we need for this spot. And in real time, anybody who sees it, they can easily go in and see, okay, this has been filled. Let me try to find something else. Also with Sign Up Genius, it already had in the free version, it already has a 4-H background template. So with the 4-H clover, it's green. All we have to do is just insert our information. So I actually, last night, I went in and I created a Sign Up Genius just to see the background, just so you can also see the background in it. So once I log in, so like I said earlier, when we're creating up Sign Up Geniuses, this is when we're creating it. It allows us to say the title of it, select the group, and I use this when for both East and West Feliciana, we had a mini farm. So I use this to register the volunteers and time slots. So you can create the group that you want to assign it to, put it down as you want for volunteering, schedule, the different categories. And then also when it comes to the theme, I just put 4-H, and then that's when this beautiful template pops up that we can use. So it gives you a preview of how it all is going to work out. Notice that it has these little ribbons beside it, which means that it's the premium version. Understand that anytime something is free, it only gives you a limited number of resources to use within it. And if you want to expand and use other things, you're most likely going to have to pay for it. So I'm just telling you the free version of it. You can look more into the paid versions and different versions of it. So that's that. So as we continue going on, when I mentioned about it allows us to format the setup however we want. And again, I recommend this to be used when it comes to you have an event and you need volunteers to sign up for different positions at different time slots. So you can sign up by date, which means if this event has more than one date, you're more than welcome to categorize it as the date. So I can take, for example, Ag Magic on LSU's campus or Ag Magic on the river. It's a multi-day event, which has the same positions on the same day, on different days and different time slots. So on the days, you can just put it here. And then the time slots, you can always add more time slots and times that you want to do. And then where it says sign up, it gives you the number of positions for that time slot that you need. You can sort it by time, by the slot that you want. For example, if you want a tour guide, say you have tour guides on this Monday and you need 5 tour guides, you can just categorize it like that so people can just see based off of the position that they are willing to volunteer for. Also, when it comes to slots, so I recommend using this one. If it's just a one-day event, using slots means different positions and you just want to have it, have people register that way. And then single day RSVPs. So this is basically whenever you have a one-day event and you want people to RSVP, this is a way that you can sign up, people can sign up for it. This can be used with not only volunteers, but if you have an event and you just want to have people RSVP, this is also a good way that you can use this platform. So I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna select one just so you can see what it looks like. And again, when you go in and you add in those slots, it asks you the number of wanted. You can select as many as you want. And you can also, if it exceeds 20, you want to add more, you can just enter that number, or you can just say unlimited. And by putting unlimited, understand that it has a maximum number of people that can sign up for it. So I need to add nope, I did that, add a date. Today is 21st. So you put all your necessary information that way. When the people see it, they can easily, okay, on July 21st from 9 to 11 is when I'm signing up for this time slot. So now going into the settings, when people register using Sign Up Genius, it automatically asks them for their names. You can, in the free version, you can require that their email be given to you, or optional. Also, if they want to add comments, it's optional, but you also have the opportunity to expand it and add a phone number or address if you need more information to reach them, just in case if they don't respond back to an email. So that is an option that you can use. So understand, in the free version, where it says preference, you can allow people to swap between the slots. So if they see somebody in a slot and they want to swap with them, they're more than welcome to do that. Notifications, it's going to send people a reminder 2 days in advance to the email that they provided or the information that they provided to you. Restrictions, only in the free version of the enhanced restriction, which we can require people to only sign up using a Sign Up Genius account. You can have them in order to register, they have to have an access code, or you can reject signups from emails other than the ones that's in the group. So you can do that all in the free version. And then, and also integrations, if this is like a fundraiser, you're trying to fundraise in it, you're more than welcome to integrate that into it. Now, these ribbons tells you that you have to pay to get these extra features that it has. So when I go into publish, and I'm actually going to go in to one that I've already done, so you can see what it looks like. Let's see, pass. All right, so this is the mini form one that me and my colleague did. On the front face of it, understands, it tells, from the public's viewpoint, it tells me everybody who registered for those given times. Understand, I still had time slots signed up. Those individuals can, still register for it, but that was on the back side of it. In Sign Up Genius, you also can pull reports and stats, so it's easy for you, if you just want to have a document that said, so you don't have to recreate the wheel, you can just pull this document and say, okay, I have X, Y, and Z signed up for this time slot. So you can pull reports. You can pull it as an Excel, or you can pull it within the system. The system will just tell you just the people and what they signed up for. If I want to build another report, I can build it in an Excel sheet, and it gives me all the data that they put in. So their email, their phone number, their name, the number of people. So anything that I requested, I can also see it at that time. So that is Sign Up Genius in a nutshell. That is Sign Up Genius in a nutshell, but I also want to show you Eventbrite. Now, Eventbrite is extremely easy to use. You can put all the details in the meeting, and some of you probably already used it, but just understand the backside of it. I prefer using this platform when it comes to general sign up for an event. I can easily go in and update the status of the event. So understand, I have this virtual volunteer leader training. It is live and people are able to at that point see it. but I can easily go in and when I want to go in and edit this event on the back side of it, it gives me the option to say it's cancel, now taking tickets at the door, tickets at the door, sold out, postponed. So it gives me all those different options when it comes to it. So when somebody sign up for a Eventbrite event, once they finish the sign up, it automatically sends it to them in an email confirmation so they can see it. But when we go and change the status of an event, such as sold out or canceled or postponed, we have to manually email the contact the people who have registered, because it does not automatically send that to them. You can put a limit on how many tickets, and tickets just saying how many spots that you have for this event. It gives you the option. When you go in, you can put the title, some different categories, so people, when they go into search your event, they can easily find it. Keywords, so it's easy to search it. And in the location, you can put the venue, so any location that you may use, if it's a venue, if it's in person, if it's an online event, or you can just tell people that it's an event, that the location is to be announced. You can put again, the date, the time of which it's going to occur, the background information, so you can easily put images, and it gives you recommendations on the size and the pixel that your event image needs to have. You can put a description so people can see what this event is about that they're about to register for. Add text, add image, add video. So anything that you think will capture the people in the registration, you want to put in that area. If you are going live, whether it's a live webinar, if it's a live stream on YouTube, Facebook, anything, you want to make sure that the people know that it is being recorded. Any resources that you want to have beforehand, like agenda items, an agenda so they can see it. Any text, any of that you want to add, and then also the tickets, which allows you to say how many tickets that you want to have. And it gives you this side panel, and you can enter that number that you want to have. Understand, you can say that it's a paid event, you can say it's a free event, or you can request donations from the public. And you just have to go through all those different options in order to see, so the people can see it. So those are the two registration sites that I'm familiar with. I'm pretty sure there's more out there. So I'm going to jump now. Any questions before I keep going? If not, we're going to keep going. And now I'm going to talk about polling. So oftentimes now in a virtual format, we like to engage in conversations with the people so they can see, so we can kind of gauge where they are in the conversation. So I found an online, and it's called easypolls.net, and you just register, it's free. You just type the question in, type their choices in that you want people to respond to, and then you just send the link out to people. And at that point, you will be able to see the answers to your polls. So I practice. I practiced last night on using a poll. So I just said what date works best for you, and I gave Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and at that point, it tells me the percentage of people who prefer this choice. Something that I can engage, something that I can see, and not the general public can see. You can create more polls that you want. You can edit the look and feel, the options, but understand. It gives you some premium, which means you have to pay for certain features to be taken off or to edit. Just keep that in mind as well. It's very easy, self-explanatory when you go into easypolls.net, and it gives you the option to create a poll. And then the next one I want to mention is Doodle Poll. And we use Doodle Poll a lot when it comes to calendar events, and we want to schedule a meeting with multiple people and find out which date works best for them. This option gives you, lets you look at your calendar, see what dates and times, all the dates and times and the time frame of which you want to have this meeting, and you're able to send this link out to anybody and they can register. And once that poll has closed, you can go in and you can say, okay, Dr. Castro and 25 of the people selected July 21st at 9 o'clock. So that's the date that we're going to have this meeting. Understand, when you're scheduling meetings, oftentimes it's very hard as an organizer to try to accommodate everybody's schedule, because everybody do different things, and we all trying to come together as one. Understand, not everybody's going to possibly be there, but Doodle Poll gives you that option to allow people to voice their opinion and when the meeting or the conference should be scheduled, so it fits everybody. So that's why I like using Doodle Poll. It is a free software that you can use. You can easily just sign up at Doodle Poll at doodle.com, set up your request, your poll, and just send a link out to people. People can put in their names, their first, last name, whatever they want it to be, and any of the dates that you have selected, they can select that's a good day or not for them, and then submit. And then you, as an organizer, will get a confirmation about it. So those are the two polling systems that I recommend using, that I've used before, that I thought was extremely easy. The next one is I'm going to talk about our survey tools. And when we using survey tools, we like to engage, try to get feedback on things that we've done before. And how do we get that? You can do a poll, and understand the two polls that the easypoll.net is one that you can do as a survey. It just depends on how you set it up. Understand, I'm on the screen now with SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey can be used as a polling system as well. It can be used as an evaluation, a survey, but understand it gives you data. It gives you the option to design the survey how you want to design it. SurveyMonkey, in my opinion, is easy to use. Understand, you have to go in and play with it a little bit in order to get to understand it. You can use it, the free version. I think with the free version, you are only limited to so many questions in your survey, and then you can send it out that way. But understand, it gives you the option to upgrade to different things that you want to My recommendation when we talking about all these different platforms to use, that you look at the features that it provides and just ask yourself, if will I ever use this, or will this be beneficial to me? So right now I'm using the basic version, and the basic version gives me an unlimited number of surveys that I can create, but my surveys have to be under 10 questions. And then also I can only have 40 responses in a survey. So if you're doing a huge event and you are trying to get more than 40 people to respond to it, I recommend not using the basic version with this, and might want to go in and update and upgrade your SurveyMonkey platform. So the number of collectors, so understand, collectors are basically ways that we can send the survey. So within SurveyMonkey, when it asks you to distribute your surveys, it's going to ask you if you want a QR code, a link, an anonymous link, or you can just enter people's emails in the system and it automatically emails them in that way. So that you're more than welcome to, at that point, use SurveyMonkey. But I recommend looking at the features, looking at what best fits your needs in order for you to be successful in whatever it is that you do. That's the only survey tool that I am familiar with. I know if you are within the school system and your school system is using Microsoft products, I know Microsoft Forms is another platform that you can use. If you have access to Qualtrics, Using Qualtrics is another option that you can use when it comes to evaluations and surveys. So next is going to be data sharing, and often now we use data more than we think that we do. We like to share information that's pictures, videos, PDF files, Word documents, PowerPoints. We want to share it in a collaborative way so people can see it without us physically having to interact or mail things to them. So the three platforms that I recommend, and everybody's probably heard of them, one is Dropbox, and I'm going to give you some things about it. So Dropbox is free to use. Understand the free version you can only use up to 2 gigabytes of storage within it. 2 gigabytes is roughly about 2,000 pictures if you use it. But understand the size of your files, what's all included, what it is that you're sharing. That is something that you need to keep in mind. It's going to give you the option. It's going to tell you how far along in the 2 gigabytes that you are before you actually run out. This is a way that you can share with people. You can share files with people using Dropbox. As an organizer, you can request files using Dropbox. So you can just send a file request to somebody and have them uploaded so they don't actually see what is in the folder. Only you as an organizer can see it. Also, you might want to use Dropbox for personal reasons. So if your phone is full on storage and you want to have another place to store images, you can upload them to your Dropbox, and what Dropbox is a big cloud of storage that you can use. Dropbox do have an app that you can download on your phone. That is something that you'll easily be able to use. All you simply have to do is register at that point in order to gain access to those 2 gigabytes of data that you do have within using the free version. The next one that I want to talk about is Google Drive. Now, a lot of times we're now seeing a lot of people using either Microsoft products or Google products. It just depends on how comfortable you are using the products. I do have a Google Drive account, and within the free version of Google Drive, I have 15 gigabytes of data storage within my Google Drive. So I use this mainly for basketball and seeing videos of basketball games, the different clips. On the side of it, it tells me how much storage I have already used and how much is left. So understand, I'm still at the beginning stages of my 15 gigabytes of storage that I'm able to see. But once I continue to add more documents to it, at that point, this meter will fill up. Also, you can see different things that has been shared with you. So understand all of these documents have been shared with me, and I can see it. So how I go about sharing things in Google Drive is simply, if I just want to click on something, let's see. Oh, so if I click on, I want to right click and I want to share, it gives me the option to manually enter somebody's email. Personally, I don't do that because oftentimes these automatic emails are being sent to spam and people don't get it. But you can use that option, or you can just copy the link and create your own email address that that people can access your files and folder that you're using. Understand, if you want to have a collective file folder that people can just access the entire files within this folder, I recommend doing that instead of doing the individual links or files that you want to share. If you're trying to share with one individual person, I recommend putting it all in one folder so it's a one-stop shop for them to be used. And also just keep in mind how you want to receive the information when you're sharing this. So that's Google Drive in a nutshell. And then OneDrive. So the AgCenter uses Microsoft products. So we use OneDrive pretty often, but also understand you have the option to sign up for OneDrive for free. And using OneDrive for free, you have the option to have up to 5 GB of data to use. So understand, Dropbox have 2 GB. That's the free version. Google Drive has 15 GB, and that's the free version. And then OneDrive has 5 GB of storage that you can use. All three of these data storing platforms have apps to them. So if there's something that's on your phone you want to share immediately to the cloud, you're more than welcome to do so. Oftentimes when I'm doing work, I create things on my phone. I upload it to the OneDrive app on my phone, and at that point, when I go into the computer, it's automatically there, and I'm able to download it on my computer. So any of those files serving platforms, you're able to use in that area. So we want to be sure that we engage our audience when we're going about doing different online meetings. So we're trying to find fun ways in order to do so. One way that we've been seeing a lot in 4-H is Mentimeter. The free version allows you to create up to 2 polls and 5 questions in each presentation. So at any given point, I can have a presentation going with a question, and in real time, it allows I can put up on the screen in real time how it shows. So it can come out as a Wordle. If you're seeing on the screen, it gives you the different pollings, the different graphs. It's just a good visual for people to see if they're visual people and they want to see how people are responding to different questions. And then the other one is Slido. And what Slido is the same thing as Mentimeter, but it allows you to create up to 3 polls per event rather than 2 polls with 5 questions. So it just depends on what it is that you're using it for, how frequent you'll be using it. If you're going to be using a software frequently, it might be your best option to purchase it just so you can get the full benefit of using it. But understand, you don't have to upgrade. You can just stay at the free version and use these different platforms that I am mentioning. Q&A is an option that you can use in Mentimeter and Slido. So that is an option to you as well, and using those polling, engaging type of conversations within your live meeting. But then also, like if we're having a normal meeting, and in normal meetings and face-to-face meetings, we typically have a whiteboard and we like to doodle and sketch out and have people's thoughts be put down on paper. So some things that we have used so far is Stormboard. And what Stormboard is, it's a whiteboard. We can share this and we can collaborate with up to 5 people or less. So simply what happens is I can create a storm, and this is a whiteboard. I can create a storm. I can use it for personal. If you're an educator and this is something that you want to use, understand that you will have to use your school email address, have to have an accredited school. So you have to enter all your school information in it in order for you to have access to the educated version of it. But in the personal version of it, I can only have up to 5 people and up to 5 storms. So 5 different whiteboards going at a time. And people can interact with this at the same time. So on the screen, if I want to type something and I want to put my thoughts down, and somebody else want to put their thoughts down and want to doodle and want to draw, they're more than welcome to do so. And that gives them that gives us an option to like brainstorm and see different things in that light. Again, this is the free version. If you continue, you have to dig down deep and find what other features that you want to use within it. And then Envision. So we use Microsoft Teams, and Microsoft Teams within it has Envision, and another whiteboard. But Envision is something that you can use online. I will go back so you can see. So I currently have 2 vision boards up, 2 freehand boards that people can collaborate and see. At the top, I can just share a link with people. It gives me who has been on, who all was able to access it. And at the same time, you will see, so if you notice my cursor is moving, I can see everybody else cursors moving around. I can see everybody else typing around. I can draw in it. I can use the text, which this is. I can add shapes. So those people who like to add things to make things stand out, more than welcome to do so. I can add images, and then I can also add sticky notes in it. So that gives us a place that we can just brainstorm as people again in a live format rather than being face to face. So Envision, using the free version, the person who the board belongs to, for example, this is my board. I can just send you a link and you can sign in as a guest and you don't have to register. But if you are wanting to have a board yourself and share with other people, you will need to register using your email address and create a password. Understanding it's going to be the free version. We used this last week with one of the state leadership boards, and one of the problems we ran into is we were trying to have multiple boards going on within a meeting on Teams at a time. If you're going to use a platform like Teams to have this, my recommendation is start a new vision board first before you create it, so you don't get information mixed up with one board and the one that you want to create. So keep that in mind. People can easily type and do whatever it is that they want to do within it. And then we want to engage our youth and adults in fun interactive games that they can use online. And one that is free that I enjoy is called iCivics. And what iCivics is, it's a civic engagement learning platform that is free. And I'm going to say it's free now because who knows, they might start charging people for it, but it is free for anybody to use. You can easily register for it. They have games. They have lessons that you can easily pull. Depending on whatever topic that it is that within the civic engagement, it gives you standards that you want. If you're within the state of Louisiana and we want to find, any teachers on the call, anybody who does this for a living, it gives you those standards and it gives you a lesson that can be interactive with people that kids can interact with. We can also play games. Understand, as a teacher, and I'm on the teacher side of it, we can have games. We can allow the kids to play games. As a teacher, I can create my own team. And within my team, I can input all the email addresses of the kids or the parents, whoever email they're using, and the kids can log in as a student. And once they log in as a student, there'll be a leaderboard within it that shows them how well they did, what achievements that they have had, so a teacher can see their progress in going. Now, understand, it's not just a game. It gives you educational resources behind the game. So you can easily download the teacher resources, some of the learning objectives. So teachers can have that opportunity to introduce the topic and say, okay, we've talked about X, Y, and Z. Now I want you to go and participate in this educational game, learn something, and then we're gonna talk about it after. So it gives you all the lessons that you can use within it, so you don't have to recreate the wheel in that area. So that is something I'm not sure if people really know about this platform. So I wanted to make sure that I let everybody know about this free platform that you can use. But understand it is free, but they do ask for donations to keep their product free. So donations is what drives keeping it free for everybody to use. So those are some of the online resources that I think are easy to use. Understand everything that I mentioned, it's going to be up to you to go within and play and get familiar with it in order to be more comfortable with it. Understand everything I mentioned. I was not an expert in it when I first started using it, but it has taken much practice and much engaging on my part in order to fully understand the benefits of using certain platforms. So that's just something that you're going to have to do. And again, like I said at the beginning, these are just platforms that I have used. I'm pretty sure there's plenty more out there in the inner world that you can use that is more comfortable for you to use. And then I want to also mention another free, just to, so if you notice, everybody who's presented has had a background when they're talking. So one thing that I use faithfully, and when I say faithfully, this is like an everyday site that I go to, is called Canva. Canva is a free graphic design platform that you can use. You do not have to pay for the free version. I pay for the free version because I use it so faithfully and I want to have everything that it includes. But it gives you the option to go in and select different size of documents that you want to use. So like presentations, the PowerPoint presentations, the virtual backgrounds that we have, we're able to use that. And this is the interface. Whenever we click on the presentation, on the side panel, on the top, it's gonna say templates, and you can easily just search through templates that you want to use. And understand, if I want to apply all 6, and this is what I want my PowerPoint presentation to be, I can use that. But also, oftentimes we like to find things that based on topics that we want to talk about. So for example, if we want to talk about, I'm just going to put education. Understand all these templates come up in the education field, different size templates. A lot of these are social media, presentations, banners that you can use. Anything that you might think that they want to have, that you want to use, you're more than welcome to do so. So within the templates, they have social media templates that you can use, personal templates such as invitations, resumes, postcards, planners, business, such as if you want to create a logo, business card, an invoice, a website, marketing, if you want to do make flyers, posters, infographics, brochures. Education, so they give you templates for creating lesson plans, worksheets, certificates, storyboards, bookmarks, class schedule. And then what is trending currently is Zoom backgrounds or virtual backgrounds. Nobody likes a plain wall to see. So we've now incorporated virtual backgrounds that engages the people. Mental health posters, greeting cards, educational presentations. Those are all things that you can use, but this has a limited number of resources that you can use. You can start from scratch and create it however you want to create it. You can go from a template. You can upload different photos and videos. They do have stock images that you can use that you have license to. I understand that in the free version, a lot of these images going to have this little crown beside it, which means that it is the pro version and you'll have to pay for this image. You can also use that. You can also filter by if you just want the free one, so you don't have to pay, but you can always add things. And when you go to download it, it's going to give you the option to download it as a PNG, which is a high quality image, a JPEG, which is a small file image, a PDF for print, which is a high quality multi-page document. And currently in the pro version is allowing us to create videos using Canva, and then also GIFs, which is very popular now, which is short clips with no sound that people are now engaging with, that you are more than welcome to use. I see in the chat that Chris was saying with Canva, you can always present or use with watermarks for free. So yes, like she said, if you want to, you won't see any watermarks on mine, but those items that you have to pay for oftentimes going to give you a little Canva watermark on the background. You're more than welcome to download using that Canva watermark on your design. But if you want that Canva watermark off of it, you will have to pay. And I know when I was using the free version, I was paying like $1 to use an image or use an element within the design. So that's something that we can easily use. So any questions, comments, or concerns about using online resources? Do you have any online resources that you feel that I missed out that you want to share with the group at this time?
Those were really great. They really were. I really appreciate you sharing those. A lot of times when you're constructing presentations, you don't know where to turn to find the thing that's the newest and the coolest and the finest. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. So Crystal is saying Flippy is also good for gamification. I haven't used Flippy, but that is something that you are more than welcome that you can use as well. So if no further questions or comments, again, thank you for attending today, and thank you for allowing me to give you the opportunity to allow you to see some online resources that you can use. Thank you, Renee.
No, thank you, Xavier. And I just want to say I am not the most technological person, but Xavier has showed us a lot of things, and he's done some trainings in our region and some of these things. And just like the Canva thing, I sat down and played with it. And like I said, I'm not the most technology savvy, but once you sit down and play with some of these things, it really becomes easier. So I encourage you, even if you're scared of some of these things like I was, go try them out, because they can be really fun once you get to learn how to use them. With that said, our next presenter today is Miss Megan Franks, and she does have a volunteer for this one that she's going to introduce. And the topic of this session is Need Help, Volunteers Recruiting Volunteers. So Miss Megan, I'll turn it over to you.
So just a kind of a quick update. I worked with Miss Moore to develop this presentation. She teaches volunteer training, driver training during the day, but I got a lot of good material from her, and we're looking to do this presentation again, hopefully at the Volunteer Leaders Association conference as well. So just appreciate the information that she helped provide in getting this presentation going. And so what we're going to talk about today is volunteers recruiting other volunteers, or getting the resources you need to take your project, to make your project happen. And so one of the volunteers I worked with on this was Kimberly Moore. As you know, that's Taymor's mother. And so she's been effective in recruitment, and then being able to kind of scale her networks to get the resources she needs to make her program happen. So I'm going to share a number of the tips that she shared, and we're going to work together, I guess, I have about 30 minutes or so. Looks like I might have a little bit more time for you to kind of brainstorm some of the ways that you can get to make your programs happen. So first off, what I wanted to do is I wanted to ask you, who recruited you first to volunteer with Louisiana 4-H? So anybody on the call, volunteers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up one of the tools that Xavier introduced, and just give it a moment to pop up. And so I'm going to ask you if you could share with me, and I'm going to make sure I'm sharing the right screen there. Who recruited you to volunteer with Louisiana 4-H? So you can use that slido.com and you can enter the code on your screen. And thank you, Crystal, for sharing that. Okay, so we've got 4-H agent, another volunteer, a member, a state office staff member, and you can have multiple. So if it's for example, a parent and another volunteer, and other. So we've got 7 people reporting so far. A state office staff member and other. So for those of you that are saying other, who is the other person that recruited you to volunteer? If you can't use the Slido, you can share in your chat. So those of you that said other. And if you've not been able to use your chat, it's that right beside the hand icon, there's a conversation bubble. You can click on that and share in the chat. So who is the other individual that recruited you to volunteer? You selected other. Anybody? Okay, so Susan says, Susan, are you there? I went to the office on my own. Oh, and Alicia, did you have something to share?
No, I was just going to tell you that someone responded in the chat, and someone also said from a principal they were recruited.
Okay. Research associate I was working for during college. So a lot of like great different ways in which we're recruited, to volunteer with 4-H. So state office staff member, another volunteer, various people that work with 4-H, another agent as well. So lots of different ideas. And so, so we're going to talk about some of these ideas a little bit further. Just give me my screen 1 moment. All right, so research shows that about 60% of 4-H volunteers started serving because their kids were involved. So we know that that's a high, when it comes to motivating somebody to serve, that's one of the ways that we're motivated to serve is because our kids are involved. I know that a lot of the events and programs that my kids are involved in, I also like to be involved. So for example, me and my husband have both served as soccer coaches in the past, and my daughter now, she's turning 10, so she'll be eligible to participate in 4-H this year. Also, 41% say that they started volunteering because their family member or another volunteer asks them. So when it comes to recruiting volunteers for your program, sometimes our volunteers are the most effective and recruiting them. And why do you think volunteers are so effective in recruiting other volunteers for our programs? Anybody want to share in the chat? Yes, thank you, Dr. Castro. They can sell on the great aspects through their own experiences, and they're the ones that are often out there getting things done. Absolutely, and like Ms. Moore says, like you have that positive attitude, you make things happen, and you inspire others to make things happen as well. So they can often be the most effective. Word of mouth is powerful. Thank you, Susan. I definitely agree. And that's one of the things that Ms. Moore wanted to emphasize is that communication and that one-on-one, those conversations are so important. And now we're going into this virtual world that we're in, for hopefully a short period of time, but how do we make sure that we're maintaining those communications with our networks to get what we need done? And so there are times during the day where I just call people when I could send an email just to have a conversation with them, and having that on, engaging those individuals. And so getting all those people to a table, and that could be that virtual table, but exploring together how you can find a fit for all of them. And communication is still key. And the emails, getting information out, that's a way to get them out, but then having that that dialogue. And so that's what Ms. Moore said, just constantly, that word of mouth is powerful, and having that dialogue is very, very important. Also understanding what motivates others to serve. And so, what motivated you to volunteer, and then knowing your why, and why you continue to serve. And so there's a number of ways that we're motivated to volunteer. It could be, I think that life skills is vital for youth. And one of the reasons why I'm so attracted to 4-H and the model, also being from, service learning and community engagement programming for all of my career. Also opportunity to strengthen social networks for some of our younger volunteers. It's also a way to explore career opportunities. And so there's a number of ways, gaining skills, knowledge as well. But overwhelmingly, a lot of our volunteers continue to serve because they feel like the program is benefiting the youth, and then having the opportunity to work with those youth. And so if you would share with me, so I'm going to once again kind of open that polling tool. And I'm going to ask you, so what is your why? So why do you continue to volunteer with 4-H? And you can use that. Go to slido.com and enter the code 16262. And then could I get a thumbs up in chat if my Slido screen is showing right now? Or is it my PowerPoint? All right, thank you, Amy, I appreciate it. So what is your why? Why do you continue to volunteer with 4-H? Because of the youth. We make better kids. Enjoy teaching hands-on. Fellowship, giving back. So just a personal note, my son is really hands-on learner. He doesn't do well just, when people giving him one-way information. And so that hands-on learning is so important. And then just being my background in service learning, community engagement, you can see how youth kind of wake up through, that hands-on learning. And so it's one of the reasons that I think sells 4-H so well. And when we're trying to, go ask for help from somebody and, offering the benefits, putting our why is a lot of times, well, it's working with the kids. And so don't forget that when you're out there, working your networks, trying to find the resources you need to make your program happen. It's really about the kids. It's an opportunity to give back, and it's an opportunity to see them grow and change as well. So, and that's one thing that Ms. Moore emphasized is like when you're out there scaling your networks, don't forget your why. So thank you all for sharing with me. So understanding what motivates others, and then having those sales points, those talks, why the program is important and how they can get involved in those various ways. understanding what motivates your other people to serve as well. And so just going to double check. So when it comes for reasons why 4-H leaders volunteer, I mean, we know many of these because we've already talked about them, or benefiting their community, like helping people, like having that opportunity to mentor, that personal satisfaction, wanting to teach, gain experience. You know, their children were involved and they were asked. But then that satisfaction of seeing you succeed is rather high. Now, when it comes to our own volunteers, what they've said, why they became involved with 4-H as a volunteer, their youth were involved. They were involved as a youth. They enjoy working with and teaching others. They saw that somebody needed their help. Somebody asked them to help, and that majority of our volunteers, well, at least through this engagement survey, we had about 400 plus responses. But 60% of them were involved as a volunteer in the past. So that's important. That shows that our mission, and we believe in the mission, which is an important part of recruitment for our programs. So, and generating some tips and rules for volunteer recruitment. So working with Ms. Moore for first, she said, have a plan. So have that plan first and then recruit second. So you need to know what your needs are, what the skills you need from others, you know, to make your programs happen. And then make it a team effort. So gathering a group of your closest coworkers, your parents, work together to make that program happen. Find where their fit is. And then often one of the most effective way to recruit others is really just directly asking them. And Ms. Moore says, communicate. And she couldn't emphasize that enough, like getting out there, working your channels, asking people, telling them what you need and asking them for help. And then understanding that no does not mean never, but no sometimes just means not right now, and that there's a time where people are able to serve, and there's oftentimes where they can't. And then everyone has that role, so finding a fit for them. And so I always like to say that, you know, square hole round, square peg round hole. So not everybody might be the fit for specifically what you need at that specific time, but finding maybe there's another fit for them. You know, if they're not the most outgoing person, they might not be the best person to put right at the front of the classroom, but you may be able to collaborate with them and find ways for them to contribute in others. And then work your network. So reaching out to your friends, you know, family, coworkers to find the help that you need. And so one thing that I like to talk about, and we had a pretty long conversation about this, but so social capital, so managing your relationships. And so like Ms. Moore says, manage your relationships like you manage your time. So know your connections and use those different circles. And I like to talk a lot about social capital and 4-H. People hear me talk about it all the time, but thinking about like your immediate connections, and then the individuals that you interact with that you can find connections to other circles. So for example, when we were talking, she said to me, Megan, we might not have the same friends in the same circles, but my connection to you can help me get connected to other people. And so that's just an important, I would say it's actually important for every aspect of a person's life, just understanding your connections to others or connections to other circles. And so managing those different networks, whether those are the professional networks that you have, your personal networks that you have, whether you're, you know, employed through the school, we just saw that in the very beginning of when we started talking about this, but maybe it's a principal or another teacher that recruited you, maybe it's another parent. But finding where those connections are that you can reach out to get other volunteers that you need for your programs. So one thing that I'd love to do, so we know that volunteers are frustrated when their projects are under supported. And so how can we brainstorm ways to use our networks to kind of fill in those gaps? And so I'd love to do, if I could get some people to kind of contribute. I know it's a little bit of a quiet bunch, but that's okay. I've got our volunteer recruitment kind of networking map that I've pulled up on a virtual bulletin board. It's also another tool that you can use with your program. So I would love to kind of brainstorm some of the ways that we can get our resources and recruit others to help our programs grow. And so if you could just double check to make sure I'm showing the right screen. So we got some time now. I'd love it if we could work together. So what are some of the personal connections, you know, you community, school connections, maybe business, industry connections, job or others that you can use to get volunteers, to get the resources you need to make your projects happen. So somebody wants to share. All right, so parents of your members. Thank you, Lillian. So where are we? We're putting those on our personal connections. I can put them on community as well. But and I would say that those are kind of warm. Parents of your members, that's great. There's a lot of great ideas in the chat right now.
Right, there's alumni in the community.
Alumni in the community. So when we say
teachers.
Yeah, I'm gonna put those on warm because you have a connection because they're alumni.
Other teachers.
Great. Okay.
Industry resources.
Great.
Businesses.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I saw the one from Renee. I can read it unless you want to read it, Alicia.
It was, I just shortened it and said businesses.
Yeah, see, Dr. Castro said businesses that relate to the topic you are working on, such as a specific project club. So it's very, very important. And I put those as cold, meaning that maybe they're not, for some people, you might have a more direct connection with them. You know, but for others, you know, that might be a cold call or that might be massaging your networks a little bit to find somebody that might work with that organization. So I put that as cold just because I don't know that everybody has a direct connection. That might take a little bit of work. And
someone else put other youth organizations.
Perfect.
Civic organizations.
So when you say civic organizations, do you want to get, Beth, do you want to provide a couple examples?
What about like Rotary Club or Chamber of Commerce, something like that? I'm thinking.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Kiwanis, she said. Yeah.
Okay, great. Whoops. So, the Rotary I'm familiar with is always looking for guest speakers as well. So oftentimes just getting on their schedule to talk about what your needs are. Beth, I don't know if that's the way to spell Kiwanis either, but I'm going to put it like that. Thank you. Heather was able to get connected to Kiwanis as well, so that's good. Lions Club, yeah, Lions Club was really involved in youth programs when I was a youth. And Heather said for these community organizations that she was connected to, she got connected to, she was able to go by there and and get connected with them, all by giving talks. So like thinking about what we do in 4-H, remembering our why, it's about the kids, the life skills, the essential life skills that we provide, going to these organizations, pitching what your needs are, and having others hear what it is that what you need. So she was she was able to get connected with them by giving talks. And Heather, you're on the call, so if you wanted just to talk a little bit more about that, please do.
So I'm not sure if y'all can hear me. It says unmuting. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So, come to find out, there's a whole bunch of different Kiwanis clubs and Lions clubs in our area. So they are all looking for speakers. So they ended up telling each other that I would come and give a talk. And so that was great. So not last year, but the year before, I feel like a bazillion talks. And I just told them what 4-H is and what we're doing and showed them lots of pictures, because pictures speak a million words. And I wasn't really super successful in being able to get any donations or funding, but I was able to get people to volunteer for cooking contests and things like that. I was also able to, through my volunteer, Elena House, she is a Lion, and she was able to use her connections with the Lions Club to help us secure a venue for our cooking class. So we're able to use their location and kitchen for free for 8 to 9 meetings a year. And also the Lions Club, they did give us a monetary donation for a school garden. So the Lions Club and the Kiwanis, yeah, gave a lot of talks there.
That's great. Heather, and you said, and a volunteer is a Lion. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I'm sorry. She's a member. She's a member of the Lions Club.
Okay. Get it. So
that's how they term it. They say I'm a Lion.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Okay. That's great. Any others?
Megan, I just want to say too, under personal connections, I don't know about everybody else, but as a 4-H agent and a volunteer, I recruit my family members. Like if I'm planning something, I think, okay, what can I get my dad to do? What can I get my mom to do? What can I, sometimes it's easier to voluntold family members and say, you have to help me with this. But a lot of times that can be, a big help. So.
I agree. And so I've signed my husband up for like almost everything that I've been involved in. So he really can't say no. So yeah, family members are a great source of when you need help. And then Beth's husband does a lot, and my husband helps too. Yeah. My husband used to do lots of tours. We did this JR2C camp for 9th through 12th grade throughout 3 states in the summer months, my previous job. And he had access to the athletic facilities, so we'd always make him do the tours. So he's the tour guide for all our camps. And he will be, and one of the 4-H agents has already reached out to me about potentially him doing tours in his new role at LSU. So yeah, family members often are a great way to get what you need, to get the people power you need to get programs happen. And then Susan said, I get my mom to help on behind the scenes stuff too. Yeah, absolutely. You know the skills of your family members, and you know those connections that they have as well. So that's a lot of times when I'm sending out cold emails to somebody asking for their help, I'll use that personal connection that I know, that person that they know, that I know. So, hey, this is who I am, and I know that so-and-so, or so-and-so is my husband, or something like that. It allows a lot of times that follow-up happens a lot easier that way. So you're also using those connections to kind of help, move that connection from a cold connection to a warm connection. So great. Anybody else that wants to share about personal?
I don't know if anybody put it on there, but I think Rebecca Leeret had said other organizations such as FFA, and then somebody else put Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I know at one time I was a Girl Scout leader and a 4-H volunteer, and I did connect my 2 clubs for some things, like when we did service projects and stuff. So that's a whole nother group of volunteers you can, have to use.
Yeah, we got a lot under community and school, so I'm going to stick this down here. All right, anybody else that wants to share anything? I can also export this as a PDF if you want a copy of it. Lots of great ideas, so thank you all for sharing ways that you can help get the volunteers you need for your programs. Great, okay, so I'm gonna go back. So I enjoy people that have very advice in a way that is, memorable. So a number of the tips that Ms. Moore provided were things that kind of really resonated with me, and I can kind of continue to remember and can quote, but she said, when it comes to recruiting, getting what you need, bringing everyone to the table to share ideas first. So, just emphasizing that everybody has a fit, and finding where their fit is. And so if you come to the idea, what is it that you need, and then finding, where it is that they could fit within your program. And then she said over and over, using your different circles and then knowing your connections and managing your time and your relationship. So we're often, always managing our time, talking about how we don't have enough time to get it done. But we think about if the more we rely on these different relationships, the more that you can make things happen. So working to manage your relationships, like we, emphasize managing our time. Never be afraid to try, and always remember your why. So we're, going out, trying to secure the resources we need, whether that's people, whether that's money, whether that's things, space. Never be afraid to try, never be afraid to ask, and always remember why, and what comes back to the youth and the kids. And then have a vision. So you've got to know what your needs are. So what are they? Where do you want to get to? And so have that vision, be positive, and it is possible. So we can make it happen. And so overemphasizing that positivity when you're on the, recruitment trail and out there kind of, talking to all these different organizations, getting what you need, having that overwhelmingly, positive attitude. And then never burn your bridges, because you never know when you'll need to cross them again. And so, sometimes you might have a disagreement with somebody, but you never know when you might need that individual again to rely on to get something you need done. And then everyone has a role and everyone has a fit. You just have to find it, but just to emphasize that, the making sure that you're fitting them in the role where they can be successful. And so not everybody needs to be, the volunteer at the front of the room that rallies everybody up and gets them excited. Not everybody's capable of doing that. So finding where it is that they can fit. Yes, and I'll definitely send this out on a PDF as well. So I'm almost about done time today, but so what I wanted to do is kind of just explore some ideas for how we can assist volunteers virtually through the VLA and through some of the training. So if you could just give me a few minutes, and I'm going to ask you one more question before we move on. So what if I could get you just to tell me what types of training or programming you would like to participate in through the VLA and through the state office. So if you could go do that, and I'll share that in the chat as well. But I can send these out in a PDF form. I'll definitely do that. But that's all kind of I had today. I have about 30 minutes with you this morning. I would love to stay connected, but I would need you to subscribe to that newsletter. And I did share it in the chat earlier, but I can do it again. Do we have any questions or anything else you'd like to share about recruiting volunteers, getting the resources you need to make your programs happen? Anybody else want to share anything? All right. Well, Renee, that's Dr. Castro. That's my 30 minutes, and that's what I've got today. So thank you so much for allowing me to talk to you. And then also we'll have a presentation at the VLA conference in October. So thanks.
No, Megan, thank you very much. Like I said, this session today was recorded, so everyone who's registered for the conference, you will get a link to the recording. If you have not registered for the conference, I'm putting my email address in the chat, and you can email me and I can get you any information that you need from today. I would encourage y'all to sign up for some of the things that Megan presented to us today, because they are all very useful and very helpful. So let's see, my email is in the chat if anybody has any other questions or needs anything else that Megan might have shared today. And like I said, I will send you the link to the recording, but I only have your email address to send you the recording links if you're actually registered for the conference. So if for some reason you just found the link on Facebook and just signed on today, you can email me at the email address I put in the chat, and I will send you all the stuff. So Megan has also sent a link to the whiteboard. Be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any questions. If not, that concludes our virtual session for today, and we hope to see you all again tomorrow. And tomorrow's agenda, we're going to be doing a Kahoot game. We're going to be talking about enrichment opportunities, tips and tricks for running your 4-H club, and the organizational leader report and service learning reporting that we ask everyone to do. So like I said, we hope that you can join us tomorrow, and I'll stay on the call for a few minutes if anybody has any questions. And thank you all so much. And thanks to our wonderful presenters today.